Let's start. Augustine goes on to show the existence of the moral law within us. These, we certainly know, do not come from us, as we are bound by these very laws, and as these are universal and immutable laws, whereas we are mutable and mortal creature. All men clearly perceive certain immutable and necessary truths impressed in and imposed on the mind, such as the principle of non-contradiction, that of causality, and especially the golden principle of conduct: do good and avoid evil. Even the ungodly, Augustine observes, clearly discern the distinction between right and wrong. They rightly praise certain acts in the conduct of men, even if they do not observe and follow this norm in their lives. Reason recognizes and tells us of these laws. It does not make them. This norm cannot be a mere figment of their imagination nor an invention or projections of their minds, as this law always runs counter to their evil inclinations. Aside from the fact that this law of conduct is always binding, immutable, and irreversible, whereas their imaginations and minds are mutable and contingent. Augustine calls the eternal law God himself, or the eternal reason, that guides and leads all things to their proper ends, which is the law of conscience, ever admonishing us to do good and to avoid evil, is the proximate norm of morality. By way of his doctrine on liberty and moral obligation, Augustine approaches and tackles the great problem that baffles even the greatest minds of all ages, that of evil. Man naturally tends towards the good, but, owing to his free nature, there is always the possibility that he may choose to turn away from the good, and cling instead to the goods of this earth, even if it means the loss of his supreme end and purpose. Now this loss of the good, consequent on man's bad choice, constitutes, according to Augustine, moral evil. So, he explains the existence of moral evil in the world from man's abuse or misuse of his freedom. How about the existence of other evils in the world? Augustine explains these by explaining them away. He teaches that evil is the very negation and privation of being and, therefore, cannot be the object of God's positive act of creation. Order in the world, for instance, demands or requires an explanation, but disorder needs no explanation, as there is nothing positive in it to explain. Despite his concept of evil as something negative, Augustine sees the life of every man, the history of nations, and the whole human race as the story of constant struggle and conflict between two forces, two tendencies, that of good and that of evil, one inspired and motivated by love, the other impelled to and driven by hate. Thus humanity, according to Augustine, may be divided into two camps: those imbued with the spirit of love, belonging to the city of Jerusalem, and those with the spirit of the world and evil, belonging to the city of Babylon. Augustine, evil is non-being. Tell me if you love or not, Augustine would say, and I will tell what your life is and what your destiny will be. Thank you.